Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Wacky and Weird Wednesday. Today we're going to cover all the wacky and weird things, and let me tell you, it is quite a wacky and weird day today. Anybody who's alive right now at this very moment.
Wacky's not the word I would use, but yeah.
This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we cover the news 10 to 15 minutes before we start. We look up our stories. We have no caffeine. We're basically doing the show on no sleep because nobody went to sleep last night. So let's read out those headlines. Today on Before Coffee, Frenchman found dead in attic 15 years after vanishing. And Dutch and French authorities raid Netflix offices in tax fraud probe.
In occupied America, Capitol Police arrest man who smelled like fetal and had a torch and flare gun. And in international intrigue, Russia has apparently tried to bomb some cargo planes.
Barry Keoghan hits back at deadbeat dad claims and denies he's an absent father.
Some guy named Fat Leonard was sentenced to 15 years in prison for masterminding Navy corruption case. And a miracle horse survives a fall down a well.
Belgian comic book withdrawn amid outrage over racist depictions.
And it's National Saxophone Day, so get all saxy for November 6th, 2024 on Before Coffee.
I mean, I'm probably also going to take a nap after this one. So let's get this show through and done so we can all go to sleep. This is coming from
Stay
AFP.
up all night just to be disappointed and pissed off.
Okay. This is coming from AFP by AFP. New owners renovating a house in eastern France made the shock discovery of a human skeleton. What? In their attic. A corpse-reduced skeleton was found on Saturday afternoon in Erstoff, just across the border from German city Saarbrücken, said Oliver Gladley, prosecutor in a nearby town. Saarbrücken, probably, or something like that. It's French. The remains were found in a difficult-to-access spot under the roof whose entrance was almost hidden, Gladley told AFP on Monday, which was, November 4th. The new owners were renovating the home after buying it in 2023, following the death of the former owner's widow. So, while looking for the source of rainwater linking into the roof structure, one of the owners entered a cubbyhole, almost without realizing, and found skeletal remains inside, Gladdy said. The body is very likely the former owner of the place, who disappeared in 2009 when he was aged 81, he added. So his widow he left and just never looked. Maybe she also was just as old. Maybe she was also 80. Just couldn't be tasked with such a thing as looking for her 81-year-old husband. So local police are investigating the cause of death. The remains have been sent to Strasbourg for forensic examination. Regional newspaper Le Républicain Lorraine reported that the man's disappearance had gone unresolved despite numerous they did intensively search for him 15 years ago in 2009, and they just never found him. Nobody ever thought about looking in the attic. But I mean, looking at how hidden it was, it's no surprise. His wife died in 2020, prompting the sale of the house. The scene where the body was found hints at suicide, prosecutor Gladdy said, adding that a rope was found still hanging in the attic. So there's your very dark, but wacky news of just completely, talk about dying in by yourself, This guy went out of his way to be in the most hidden part of his house and die there. Hung himself, perhaps. And no one ever found him. Luckily for these new owners, they're able to find his body, and now they can lay him to rest, probably with his widow, who is also now dead. Yeah, I know, some dark news, but it's it's very weird that you just, wow, you'd think you would search the whole house, but I guess this place was really hidden. In celebratory capitalism news, Dutch and French authorities have raided the Netflix offices. This is by France 24, including news wires. French and Dutch authorities have raided streaming giant Netflix's offices in Paris and Amsterdam yesterday on November 5th. As part of a tax fraud inquiry, a judicial source told AFP. The search of various locations in France by specialist financial investigators relates to suspicions of covering up serious tax fraud and off-the-books work, and part of a probe opened in November 2022, the source said. Netflix's Amsterdam headquarters in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa was also targeted for a search by team officials for both France and the Netherlands. French and Dutch authorities have been cooperating on this criminal case for many months, the source said. Dutch prosecutors confirmed the searches in the context of a French legal assistance request, while the European Union Agency for Criminal Justice Cooperation, Eurojust, said it was supporting the investigations, including Tuesday's searches. Netflix is under investigation in France for its tax filings for 2019, 2020, and 2021. Well, I'm sure they made a bunch of money because everyone was stuck in their house. So, hey, let's be honest here. I bet you $1 billion that Netflix made $1 billion during the quarantine pandemic, and they probably didn't pay any taxes on it because, God forbid, you support the people who gave you all that money. We are cooperating with the authorities in France, where Netflix is a major contributor to the local economy. We respect all laws and tax rules in all countries where we operate, a Netflix France spokesperson told AFP. French outlet La Lettre had reported that Netflix's French operation was structured until 2021 so that all subscribers signed up with the Dutch subsidiary, thereby minimizing its tax bill. Oh, so they use Dutch tax laws, which are famously very lax. That's how they attract so many companies to the Netherlands, by having lax tax laws. And they use their Dutch tax laws in their French operation, which is still illegal even if they're both part of the EU. You can't do that. That left it paying less than 1 million euros or $1.1 million in today's rates in taxes. Paris across 2019 and 2020 when it had around 7 million French subscribers. Authorities are now trying to determine whether Netflix kept up illegal attempts to minimize its reported profits and thereby its tax bill, La Lettre added. The French subsidiary reported very low operating margins compared to the US mothership in 2021 and 2022. The outlet said paying just 6.5 million euros in tax on its profits in 2022, which should have been 7. They should have been paying 7 million, but they only paid 6. But its practice on billing a larger share of revenue to entities outside France represents a tax optimization strategy that is legal under certain conditions, La Lettre added. Netflix earned over I told you they earned a lot. They earned over 9.8 billion in revenue worldwide from its 282 million subscribers in July-September this year. Just from July to September, they almost made 10 billion revenue. So yeah, these guys can pay their 1 million tax that they owe, I think. Their net profit was 2.4 billion. Yet again, a reminder that a billion is another zero on your, more zeros.
Well, it depends if you're talking about British billions.
Oh no, yeah, I guess American billions.
Million.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so a billion in American. Sorry, my brain is
9 zeros.
My brain is consumed. Yeah, 3 more zeros. That's 3 more zeros that they have added, and they owe 3 less zeros in taxes. Yeah. Literally, it's like $1. Yeah, it's like $1 and 1,000. Yeah, it's $1 and 1,000. If you can't pay $1 out of your 1,000, fuck you. Anyways, the group arrived in France just over 10 years ago, and now boasts 10 million households subscribed. Netflix says it conforms with local laws on commissioning French content, paying the full rate of VAT and contributing to the film industry levy. In 2023, the company said it pumped 250 million euros in producing French content, of which 50 million went to feature films. Okay, you give money so that you can make more money. That doesn't mean you can't pay your taxes, buddy. Its top French-made output include Lupin, the series starring Omar Sy. The show is modernizing. I guess that we're gonna give them a little plug here. Yeah, they don't pay their taxes, so make sure you watch their show on Netflix. I'm not gonna plug Netflix until they pay their taxes. This has been Wacky and Weird, companies doing corporate things on Wacky and Weird Wednesday on Before Coffee. Let's go to your news stories. Go over to the Rog, man.
Okay. The occupied USA. The Capitol Police arrest a man who smelled like fuel and had a torch and a flare gun. This happened yesterday. The U.S. Capitol Visitor Center was closed Tuesday afternoon. The Capitol Police arrested a man who was carrying a torch and a flare gun during a security screening process. Our officers just arrested a man who was stopped during our screening process at Capitol Visitor Center. The Capitol Police wrote in a statement online. This man smelled like fuel, had a torch and a flare gun. The CBC is closed for tours for the day. We will investigate. The Capitol Police continued. We will provide more information when we can. According to the Capitol Police spokesman, the man in his late 20s from Michigan drove to the U.S. Capitol. He submitted a routine screening at the Capitol Visitor Center when police arrested him. The man had documents on him that were described as a manifesto that were referring to the war in the Middle East. Capitol Police also tracked the suspect's car near the Capitol and declared the scene around the car as well. Capitol Police did not release any additional information. Congress is not in session, but the House is scheduled to meet for a brief, was scheduled yesterday, a brief pro forma session at 5 p.m. Those sessions do not include the full lower chamber, other sessions, blah, 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 blah. Security was heightened across Washington Nation on Election Day, so it was probably a bad day to do it with heightened security, but he got caught. Some blah, 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 blah. That's it for that story. Russia still pulling their shit. Yeah, that's right. Russia, of course, it's not in this story, but also Russia called in 3 bomb threats to Georgia yesterday, so they had to evacuate 3 counties in Georgia, had to evacuate while people were waiting in line. How many of those people went home and didn't come back? I don't fucking know. Nobody fucking knows.
Yes.
But anyway, Georgia went to Trump, and thank you, Russia, again, for fucking up our elections. Anyway, Russia was responsible for sending 2 incendiary devices to DHL Logistics in Germany and the United Kingdom in July as part of a wider sabotage campaign to possibly start fires aboard aircraft bound for North America, a Western security official told NBC News. This is from NBCnews.com. The Capitol Police story, I'm sorry, it did not source it for you. It was from TheHill.com. Yash Roy is the author. This is NBCnews.com. This Russia plane story is from Dan DeLuce and Tom Costello. The Wall Street Journal first reported the suspected plot. Polish authorities have arrested 4 people and are searching for 2 more in connection with the case, according to government officials and Polish media. DHL said in an email that it is aware of 2 recent incidents involving shipments to our network and is cooperating with investigators. The U.S. Transportation Security Administration said it has bolstered air cargo screening over the past several months. A U.S. official said federal authorities remain vigilant against threats to aviation and cargo systems, and at this time, there's no current active threat targeting U.S.-bound flights. The White House National Security Council and the CIA declined to comment. German and British authorities have said they were investigating suspected Russian sabotage in 2 incidents in July. A package en route to an aircraft exploded at a DHL logistics center in Leipzig before a scheduled flight. Also in July, a package burst into flames at a DHL center in Birmingham, England. The packages included electric massagers that contain magnesium-based flammable substance, what the Western officials said. Poland's National Prosecutor Office said the saboteur's goal is to test the transfer channel for such parcels, which are ultimately to be sent to the United States of America and Canada. Last month, Thomas Haldenweg, the head of Germany's domestic intelligence service, told German lawmakers that it was sheer luck that one of the booby-trapped packages caught fire on the ground and not during the flight of the plane. He said the incident was particularly great danger. U.S. Terrorism Police investigating the incident and declined to comment on DHL cases. In recent months, the U.S., British, and German and other European officials that accused Russia of organizing an increasingly aggressive sabotage campaign and undermining and disrupting Western assistance to Ukraine. The attempted sabotage has included the plot to bomb or set fire to military bases and attempts to hack and disrupt Europe's railway signal network and jamming of GPS systems for civil aviation, according to European and British authorities. Physical sabotage efforts have coincided with a concerted disinformation campaign by Moscow to weaken political support for Kiev in the West. And it really fucking worked the United States, didn't it? Russia basically just won the war last night, or early this morning. Basically, our buddy, the president of Ukraine, is going to be in a firing squad sometime next year. He's taken into custody.
Very bad news for Ukraine.
And tortured. Yeah, basically, Ukraine is totally fucked. Thank you, United States scumbag losers, for voting for a fascist pile of shit. Thank you so very fucking much, you losers. You suck. And I hope you just all get sores on your asshole that don't heal, and the only way for them to heal is you have to blow a kangaroo. How's that? Go fuck yourselves. Back to you. All right, by the way, I got a video.
Okay. Send it to me. For the next story, let's talk about being a celebrity who has social media presence, and people put their nose in your business because people have nothing better to do. This is from The Independent by Lydia Spencer Elliott. People love to use Barry Keoghan's son as ammunition, the actor said. Barry Keoghan has his out at internet speculation about his parenting skills. The Banshee of Inisherin star 32 welcomed his son Brando with his former partner Allison in August 2022. He is now reportedly dating the 25-year-old pop star Sabrina Carpenter. Keoghan, whose credits include The Killing of the Sacred Deer, Saltburn, has regularly been accused by social media users of being a deadbeat dad, because they know all about that, don't they? For not spending time with his son. Because, they're stalking his life, and they know everything he's doing, all moments of his life, so they know he's not hanging out with his son because he doesn't post it on Instagram or something. Speaking to the Louis Theroux podcast, Keoghan addressed the rumors and criticized trolls for making assumptions about his family life. If I didn't have tough skin or the strength to have, I wouldn't be sitting here, he said, referencing his own upbringing in foster care and losing his mother to drug addiction. Of course, my child is going to affect me being a father when I had no blueprint to take from, Keoghan claimed. People just read that as laziness and go, oh, that's no excuse to be an absent father. I'm not an absent father, he added, but it's just, again, people love to use my son as ammunition or whatever. The Irish star said that the more public attention he received, the less he wanted to post his child on social media. Yeah, you shouldn't, because as somebody who's grown up in the internet age, please don't post your children on the internet. I know it's really easy to do because you just want to share what you're doing with your kids, with your friends. So that's why private accounts exist, where you can share all of your photos of your kids with your friends. Do not share it on a public profile. First of all, it's weird, and people will do weird things, like that guy who got arrested for making child porn with AI images. Two, they did not ask to be on the internet. And as somebody who was on the internet as a child, I should not have been on the internet as a child. It really fucks with your brain. It makes you have terrible insecurities and overthink too much. It can really mess up a child's development and their future as an adult. So he's doing the right thing. He's keeping his kid off the internet, because just look how these people treat him, and he's an adult. How will they treat a 12-year-old, an 8-year-old, or even a 16-year-old? I mean, look at child stars as well. Child stars have been terribly treated by the media. They all end up being drug addicts because it's the only way they can cope with all the scrutiny they go to for being human. That's right, celebrities are humans too. Shocking. I don't think it's fair to put my child online, he said. And because I reined that in, people draw a narrative and go, absent father shit, deadbeat dad. and more disgusting things I wouldn't even repeat. Just the audacity of some people, man, it sickens me, makes me furious. Keoghan's mother passed away when he was 12. He just then spent 7 years in foster care, moving between 13 different homes before raised by his grandmother and aunt, sister Gemma. My mom, she was lovely. She was gorgeous, almost like 6 foot, dark hair, just beautiful, he said. Like every lad was chasing her, and this thing caught her. Addiction, like many families. The actor continued, "It's sad to see the deterioration of people around the area and see people struggle with it, and the recovery they're in now. It caught my mum, and it caught my uncle who died of it, and caught my father as well. He was just unable to look after us." The star, who will next be seen in Andrea Arnold's Bird, explained of his time with foster care. "My father wasn't there, so we got taken into care, and no one knew about this. I think she was too embarrassed to tell my granny, so no one knew that. That's when we went through all that. All the different homes. Admitting his childhood still affects him," Keoghan adds. "That kind of haunts me still. You don't forget those things. You don't forget waiting on social worker steps and waiting for the new family to come and play with you in the playgrounds they have in the office and see if it's going to work, and then go with them to a whole new area and a whole new home." Referencing his mother's addiction, the star concluded, "I don't blame her. It's a sickness." So, if you know someone, or if you or someone you know is suffering from drug addiction, you can seek help 24/7 from Frank by calling 0300-123-6600 in the UK or texting 821111. You can also send an email and visit the website Frank if you need any help or you know someone who needs help. In the US, you can contact the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration while it still exists, because as we know, Trump doesn't like helping people who are weak and need help, at 1-800-662-HELP. So 1-800-662-HELP. And this is a reminder from me to you: leave celebrities alone. They already have enough stardom. You don't need to be telling them how they should be living their life when you don't know anything about their life. At the end of that, let's go to some more news from Raj. No, more ranty Raj.
Back to me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about Fat Leonard. This is from the U.S. Naval, USNI.org. USNI stands for United States Naval Institute. It's from their website, and it's about Fat Leonard. Fat Leonard! And the author is Heather Mongilio. Federal judge on Tuesday sentenced Fat Leonard Francis, the man behind the large Navy fraud and bribery scheme, to 15 years in prison. Francis received 164 months in prison for his bribery and fraud scheme, with an additional 16-month sentence for failing to appear in the first sentencing hearing, according to the Department of Justice news release. Francis fled the country to Venezuela.
Wow.
USNI News previously reported. While Francis sentences 15 years in prison, the judge credited his time already served in the U.S. and in Venezuela with the American government. He will ultimately spend approximately 8.5 years behind bars additional years behind bars, unless released early. The judge also ordered Francis to pay $150,000 fine and $20 million in restitution to the Navy. Francis also forfeit $35 million made in his scheme. Leonard Francis lined his pockets with taxpayers' dollars while undermining the integrity of U.S. naval forces, U.S. Attorney Tara McGrath said in the DOJ release. The impact of his deceit and manipulation will long be felt, but justice has been served today. Francis, a Malaysian national, was the former president of Singapore-based Glen Defense Marine Asia. In 2015, he took a plea deal for his role in a Navy corruption case, which saw Leonard paying for lavish stays and dinners for U.S. military officials, among other perks, in exchange for lucrative contracts for his business. U.S. prosecutors implicated 36 military officials with the help of Leonard, whose sentence reflected his cooperation, according to the DOJ release. So let's find out how much those 36 military officials have to spend in jail, huh? 36! Although convicted in 2015, Francis lived in home detention since at least 2018 while undergoing treatment for medical issues, including renal cancer. This is what I hope the Trump supporters get. I hope you get renal cancer. It just sounds so lovely. Just being such clueless morons and voting their country into fascists. Anyway, back to the story. He was first sentencing hearing was set for September 22nd, 2022. Instead, he fled 3 weeks before his sentencing. He traveled to Mexico, then Cuba. He was arrested in Venezuela, where he attempted to board a plane to Russia. Venezuela connection. The U.S. extradited Francis back to America in December of 2023. So there's your news on Fat Leonard and other weird stories, a little bit more lighthearted here. This is from UPI.com. Ben Hooper, a miracle horse, survives a fall down a well without serious injuries. Firefighters and animal services personnel teamed up in California to rescue a miracle horse that survived a fall down a well without any serious injuries. The animal services admitted Butter fell through the plywood covering an old well and dropped an estimated 15 feet. All efforts to save Butter, in all efforts to save Butter, the water from the well was siphoned, indicating that the well was actually 60 feet deep, Animal Services said on social media. The rescuers feared Butters may have been killed or severely injured by the fall, but she was examined by a veterinarian after being hoisted out of the well by Cal Fire and Riverside County Fire personnel. We are all amazed she came out with any major drama.
Some
Riverside
scratches
County
and bruises.
Veterinarian Estelle Vicara said, "This was a huge team effort and many rescues, so it's uplifting to learn Butters will be okay." Butters regular veterinarians. Butters regular veterinarian inspected her later and said she's recovered nicely from minor injuries sustained in the fall. This could have been on Tuesday Newsday, but there you go. It's weird. So there you go. Let's see how horse fall down a well. I've seen wells big enough to contain a horse.
Exactly. I'm like, where was this well? Was it just
children.
Was it like not covered? Like it didn't have a little roof and it didn't have like the brick around it. It was just a hole,
plywood.
like a straight up hole in the wall.
Over it.
How did it fall in?
Yeah, big enough to contain a horse.
God damn, that's a big
no
well.
Pictures.
Yeah.
Well, at least I don't have any pictures.
I'm gonna look up a picture. I need to see this well.
I'm gonna look for the picture.
Horse falls in well. There's no way. It has to be like a video or something. Okay, so.
Nah, probably not.
No, what was this? Was this in the United States?
It was in California.
I've seen some pictures of horses and wells. It looks like what you expect. They fell in kind of long ways, right. Just like straight, like sitting position, and then they have to be pulled out. You know, they have to be pulled out by their like shoulders, or in there to get out of the well. Yeah. So, yeah, this well is pretty big. It almost looks like a dock. Okay, but that's like to hear. The horse only has little bruises and scrapes and survived the fall into the well. Let's go cover some more culture news, because that previous story was a bit culturally, but this is another one. Belgian comic book withdrawn amid outrage over racist depictions. Now, is this real racism? Is this sensitivity? Or are people just straight up, I'm racist and I'm going to put in a comic? Woohoo! This is from Jennifer Rankin on The Guardian. A comic book has been withdrawn from sale by its Belgian publisher after an outcry over racist depictions of black people and hypersexualized images of women. Okay, the publisher Do Peace announced that its graphic novel Spirou and the Blue Gorgon would be removed from shops after the book caused a storm on social media. In an announcement last week, Do Peace said it was profoundly sorry if this album has been shockful and hurtful. Wish they had some pictures, but I guess they don't want to show racist and sexualized images of women. That had been done in a caricatured style of representation from another era. The publisher added it was more aware than ever of our moral duty and the importance of comics, adding, "We take full responsibility today for this era in judgment." Peru and the Blue Gorgon, a satirical tale, so-called eco-terrorists, junk food and plastic rubbish, was first published in September 2023 and widely reviewed in the Francophone press with little controversy. That's because French people appreciate art and they understand satire. Unfortunately, I guess some other people do not. To be fair, I can see where the people who were insulted by this portrayal feel, because there's an idea that perpetuating a thing satirically doesn't remove it as an actual example. I think I watched one of the really long YouTube essays about this. I think like one of those 1 hour YouTube essays. And they were talking about how, for example, the Colbert Report, while it was satire, some people genuinely believed it was real. Like that was a real Republican man who supported all these wacky and weird things. And some people even blamed that for the rise of the far right, because they normalized this kind of weird and wacky person that should not exist in reality, because people were too stupid to realize it was satire. And that's what I'm sure a lot of these people on TikTok were talking about. It's like, you're portraying black people and women terribly, and you're normalizing the idea that they're like that, they act like that, or they look like that. One internet user noted that all white characters were human beings, while black characters were depicted as monkeys, and the women typically drawn with plunging cleavage, tiny waists, and were hypersexualized. After the publisher's decision, local media reported that approximately 30,000 copies would be removed from sale, a decision to be the first of its kind in Belgium. Comic strips and bandes dessinées are celebrated as an art form in Belgium and France, but some once feted works have been strongly criticized for their stereotypical depictions of women and people of color. In 2011, an attempt to ban the 1930 comic book Tintin and the Congo over its portrayal of Africans failed in the Belgian courts. Yeah, you can't ban Tintin. Good luck. They're a freaking hero. The Tintin comic book. Cartoonist behind the Blue Gorgon, Daniel Henrotin, who used the pen name Danny, said he had been emulating the style of late Belgian comic strip artist André van Quin, who was celebrated in the 1950s and beyond. Yeah, well, he's from the 1950s. There you go. There's all you need to know about that. Then he said he recognized he had made a mistake and was truly sorry if he could have hurt anyone. Danny, who is 81, okay, he's a boomer. That explains a lot. Wait, there's nothing wrong with this. This is how the comics looked in the 50s. Yeah, dude, you're not living in the 50s anymore. It's 2024. People don't like satirical depictions of black people and women. They want realism. If you want to be artistic, you can't be racist or misogynistic. Saying it was never his goal to mock or degenerate people of color and women while offering a partial defense. I heard it said that we cannot draw like that today. I responded that human caricature are the DNA of the Belgian school of bande dessinée. Leading lights of the comic world pushed back against the idea that caricatures was no longer possible. Comments are automatically caricatures. Isabelle de Becker, the director of the Comic Strip Center in Brussels, told Les Cieux. She said the artist should not stigmatize groups of people as was done in the 1980s. It's up to us to be a little more intelligent, whether it is our humor or our way of representing reality. I find it a shame that there are still people who do not understand what is problematic, she said. So what she's saying here is that you can still do caricature, you can still show people in goofy and wacky ways, but you need to be intelligent about it. You have to realize where you're living, the times have changed, and that you can always, what is the word I'm trying to think of? It starts with an I, but you can change things for the better. You can always improve. It's not improve, but you can always improve things. You don't have to get rid of it. You can improve it to fit the time you're living in, or even to make it better for some people. You don't have to abandon caricature, and that's the problem with Danny. Danny, unfortunately, was still trying to recreate the art style of the 1950s in a time that is no longer the 1950s. Wacky and weird art story here out of Belgium. Let's go to this day in history.
Right. Belgium. This day in history brought to you by Britannica. Britannica. We still think it's we still think it's 2023. Let's do it again. Britannica. We still think it's 2023. I wonder if they're going to, when the year changes, they'll still be in 23, right? They'll be having to add 2 years to everything. Anyway, this day in history, 1661, Charles II, who ruled Spain from 1665 to 1700, was the last monarch of the Spanish Habsburg dynasty, was born. So it's his birthday today. It's also the birthday of John Philip Sousa, American bandmaster who composed 136 marches. He was born in 1854. It's the birthday of baseball player Walter Johnson, professional baseball player born in Humboldt, Kansas in 1887. It says here who had perhaps the greatest fastball in the history of the game. There's no way to tell because he played a long time ago. 1888, Benjamin Harrison, the Republican Party, was elected U.S. president by electoral majority despite losing the popular vote by more than 90,000 to his Democratic opponent, Grover Cleveland. Because the United States has the dumbest fucking electoral system you've ever heard of in your life. That's why we get shitty people running the country. 1917, on this day, the second phase of Russian Revolution, 1917, began as the Bolsheviks seized power in Russia. In 1984, Ronald Reagan was elected president. 1995, Art Modell, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, announced that he was moving the team to Baltimore. They're now called the Baltimore Ravens, which enraged sports writers and Cleveland fans. But they got their own team now. The Cleveland Browns again. In 2012, American politician Tammy Baldwin, a Democrat from Wisconsin, became the first openly gay person to be elected to the U.S. Senate. She was elected again last night. So she, in spite of the fact that Trump took Wisconsin, apparently, Tammy Baldwin still won her Senate seat. So what the fuck's going on there? I have no idea. Anyway, Lincoln, 1860, Abraham Lincoln elected president of the United States. On this day in 1860, Americans elected Abraham Lincoln president.
I think every
we all heard Abe Lincoln.
president was elected. Oh, you mean this is the last time a president was elected on specifically November?
What's that now?
November 6th. Yes. No, I'm just saying, aren't all presidents elected
November
to this
6th,
day? Is what I was arguing.
No, it's on a Tuesday. It's the first Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, I'm just saying 1860 was the last time there was a Tuesday on the 6th, I guess.
No, Ronald Reagan, 1884.
Yeah, okay.
That. You weren't listening. I also covered Benjamin Harrison.
Oh, I thought you were going
so
in
those two.
Not alphabetical order, chronological order. Okay.
I'm going in reverse, like oldest to newest.
Oh, okay.
But maybe you missed it. But I was reading them kind of fast. I covered Benjamin Harrison and Ronald Reagan also being elected on this day. And anyway, we all know about Lincoln. He won the Civil War and was assassinated.
Okay.
Future biography, James Naismith, Canadian-American athlete educator who theoretically invented basketball. Is credited with inventing basketball in Springfield, Massachusetts. He was born November 6th in 1861 in Almonte, Canada, and died November 28th, 1939. Age of 78 in Lawrence, Kansas. Other birthdays today: Mike Nichols, American director and comedian. Sally Field, Mike Nichols, born in 1931, sorry. Sally Field, born in 1946. Maria Shriver, American television journalist and daughter to the Kennedy clan. She's Sergeant Shriver's daughter. Sergeant Shriver married Eunice Kennedy, who is JFK's sister. So, Maria Shriver, JFK's niece. It's her birthday today. She was born in 1955. Also, Ethan Hawke's birthday. He's born in 1970. American actor, director, and novelist Ethan Hawke. Happy birthday. He's turning 54 today. And what national days is it? Besides National Saxophone Day, November 6th is National Nachos Day and National Stress Awareness Day. Boy, good day for that. Stress Awareness Day. That's it. First Wednesday in November is Stress Awareness Day. Those are your days. Those are your historical facts. Those are your depressing notes from Weird Wednesday. National Saxophone Day, November 6th, 2024, on Before Nachos. nachos.
I would love some nachos. That sounds like a
Them
good
nachos.
plan
Shove
for
'em
my
in your-
lunch.
Shove them in your nacho hole.
All right, this has been Ally here. Also, I forgot to mention this yesterday, was the International United Nations World Tsunami Awareness Day. So make sure you not only are aware of tsunamis, but you know how to survive them and help people who have been caught up in them. Reminder, if that you're at the beach and the water is
for the hills.
exporting, the water is leaving and not coming back, it's time to freaking get out of there because a tsunami is coming. That's the number one thing. Don't just stand, take your phone
run
out.
the opposite direction as fast as you can.
Get on your bike, whatever you need to do, because that water is coming. And it's not like how you see in movies where it's a huge wave that swallows everything. It's just water that rushes and just destroys everything in its path because it has so much kinetic energy in it to release, right? It's just a physics thing. The water has so much energy into it that it just destroys everything because water will go anywhere. So this is also the year to honor the memory of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami on its 20th anniversary and highlight the lesson for children and youth around the world to celebrate the success of progress made in advancing early warning system coverage for tsunamis. So good job, everyone. All those scientists who are working together to make sure that people know when tsunamis are coming, so another disaster like the Indian Ocean tsunami never happens again.
Some places don't have tsunami alarms.
Yeah.
Right? Some places don't have those alarms.
A lot of places are going to have to get it.
By surprise.
Because the water is only going to rise more as climate change continues, and soon people are going to be in a beach when they never had a beach before. Okay, and also today is United Nations International... What is this? International Day of Preventing the Exploitation of the Environment in War and Armed Conflict. This is like, for example, people illegally mining, poaching, making breeding grounds for invasive species, and of course, simple things like putting mines in wheat fields like they do in Ukraine. So now the entire environment is dangerous to live in, or even like have animals or nothing. You can't use the land now because it has been destroyed by war. And probably chemicals as well. You know, I know people were dropping white phosphorus and stuff. I don't know if that has effect on the environment, but I have a feeling it might. Then of course you also have stuff like napalm also destroys forests and stuff like that. So keep those two things in mind. Remember tsunamis and work against preventing the exploitation of the environment during war and conflict. This has been Ally. We will see you tomorrow for Thursday's 13. I don't know what the list is, but we'll draw one up before long. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification, as well as follow us on all our social media stuff. Like this video and tell us below what your favorite wacky weird story was today. I liked the horse one. That one was really positive. Even though it was wacky, it was also positive. So I'm glad that the horse survived because it didn't deserve that. It doesn't know what whales are. It's a horse. We will see you tomorrow. Take care out there. Please, if you need to, do not doom scroll today. I don't even care if anyone's watching this because people do not need to be spending 5 hours a day doom scrolling about how everything sucks. It sucks for now, but if you keep your hope strong, this is my message to everybody. If you give up on hope for a good future for yourself and the people you love, that is when you actually lose. So never give that up. Always fight for what you believe in, and we will see you tomorrow. Here is our mic drop moment, wacky mic drop moment.
It's nice this morning. Your participation. I can't do this.
He's crying.
What? Your participation activity today is swinging. It was acceptable back when Hal and Joanne were kind of the face of participation.
They're talking about swinging on the swing set.
He's thinking of sex swing or like switching your partners around at a party. Yeah, the kids. The keys in the
at a playground.
Keys in the bowl, you know.
Yeah, put your keys in a bowl.
This is a
I know
Canadian.
what you're talking about.
Calgary, I think.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So either way, you get your activity in for the day, I guess. There's that.
Well, good cardio.
Oh my God.
Some of the best.
I love swinging, like on a swing set. I mean, it's my favorite thing to do. Going up and down.
It's enjoyable as hell.
Sorry. There's so many things I want to say, but
No, by all means.
It's good
What's
exercise.
shopping?
This is what's great about live news, you know?
all right, let's talk weather.
Enough.
All they can do is laugh for
Look
the
at me like
entire
What do you have to say?
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.